Now let's look at absolute cell references. One of the key features of Excel is the ability to drag formulas over into different columns and down to different rows. Here we've got a data set with sales for the first quarter of the year. And let's say that all of our sales reps get a 10% commission. So we want to calculate here in columns F and H what their commission is for January, February, and March. Let's come in here to this cell right here and we'll select Jim's January sales and multiply them by that commission rate. Let's say you wanted to populate the rest of this section by dragging formulas over. If we drag the formula over one column, what Excel has done is it's also changed these cell references over one column. So in this cell we had column B, and because we moved over one column, it's now moved it to C. Similarly, if we drag a formula down, it's going to take rows 5 and 1 and change that to 6 and 2. So what we need to do is lock cell references so that Excel doesn't automatically change the row or column. In this example, we want to change the sales column and the sales rep row. However, we want that commission to stay the same. To lock cell references, you put a $ in front of the column that you want to lock and in front of the row that you want to lock. A shortcut to do this is to hit the F4 button. Now when we pull this formula over, you'll notice it's moved over one column in the sales section, but it's kept that commission rate the same. Now we can pull it over for March and then select all of these and pull them down. The nice thing about setting up your data this way is if your commission rate changed, let's say for the new year, instead of 10%, it was 9%, then it easily calculates what your commission would be. Let's look at an example of a mixed cell reference and change the scenario a little bit. Here the commission rate changes depending on what you sold. So for Jim, we want to multiply his 10,000 in paper sales by this 5%. If we want to have all of the paper sales reference that 5%, we're going to want this B5 reference to change, but we're going to want this B1 reference to stay in row 1. Then when we pull over to the printer commission, we want to have that column change. So in this example, we would want a $ just in front of that 1. You can hit F4 until it toggles to show that $ in front of the row 1. Now let's pull this down 1. It changed the paper sales, but it kept that commission rate. And then if you move it over one column, it changed both columns from B to C, but it still kept that row as a 1. And even if you pull this down, it's still going to keep that row 1. So now we can pull this all the way over and all the way down. And now we've got the correct calculation in each cell by locking that first row. And here's an example of where you would want to lock the first column. Here we've got the same sort of data, it's just presented in a slightly different way. We've got the revenue type, the commission amount, and then what Jim's sales were and Dwight's sales were. So if we wanted to calculate the Jim commission, we're going to come over here and have this commission amount. We want to keep that commission amount in column B, so we'll hit F4 3 times to get that $ in front of B, and then we're going to multiply that by Jim's sales. We want this cell to move as we pull the formula over to Dwight, so we don't need to lock any of those references. So now we can look at Dwight's commission, and then we can pull this down as well, and we get the right formulas that we want. This is pretty basic stuff, but sometimes it can get a little bit confusing which row and column that you want to actually lock. So it's helpful to experiment a little bit and see if the formulas are doing what you want them to do. I see a lot of people waste a lot of time by not putting those dollar signs in and just manually changing formulas. If you've got a couple of formulas, that's probably not a big deal. But if you've got hundreds of formulas that you need to fix, this can save a lot of time.